You know that feeling when you have something really important to say, and the words just won't come out right? You know exactly what you mean inside your head, but the moment you open your mouth, it's like the message gets scrambled somewhere between your brain and your lips. And the person you're talking to just stares at you, nodding along, but you can see it in their eyes. They don't actually get it. They're not really hearing you. That feeling is one of the most quietly painful things a human being can experience, and here's what makes it even worse. You start blaming yourself. You think maybe you're just not smart enough to articulate things properly. Maybe you're just not one of those naturally gifted communicators. Maybe some people are just born knowing how to say the right thing at the right moment, and you weren't. So you stay quiet more often. You hold back your real opinions. You let other people speak over you in meetings. You send that text and then immediately regret how you worded it. You watch the people around you get promoted, get respected, get taken seriously while you're sitting there with a head full of brilliant thoughts that nobody ever actually hears. That's not a small problem. That's a life problem. But what if I told you that clear communication is not a talent? It's a skill. And every single skill can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Some of the most powerful communicators in history started out terrified to speak a single sentence in public. The difference between them and everyone else wasn't natural ability. It was that they learned a specific set of principles, and they applied them consistently until it became second nature. Now, before we go any further, if you're serious about transforming the way you communicate at a deep level and not just picking up a few tips here and there, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. These are designed for people who are done watching their ideas get ignored and their relationships suffer because of poor communication. Don't wait on this. The people who take action early are always the ones who see results first. Now let's get into it. The very first thing you need to understand is this. Clarity begins before you even open your mouth. Most people think communication is about talking. It's not. Communication is about thinking. When your thoughts are foggy, your words are foggy. When your words are foggy, people disconnect. They stop listening. They fill in the blanks with their own assumptions. And suddenly a conversation that was supposed to bring you closer together has pulled you further apart. So here's what you do before any important conversation. You ask yourself 3 questions. What is the single most important thing I want this person to understand? How do I want them to feel after this conversation? And what do I need from them? That's it. 3 questions. Most people skip this entirely and then wonder why they feel misunderstood. Studies in organizational psychology show that leaders who communicate with clarity and intention are trusted up to 4 times more than those who communicate reactively. 4 times. That's not a small margin. That's the difference between being seen as a leader and being overlooked entirely. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people make a massive mistake when they're trying to explain something. They bury the most important point at the end. They give all the context first, they set up all the background, they explain every detail, and by the time they get to the actual point, the person they're talking to has mentally checked out. They're thinking about what they're having for dinner. They're halfway through composing a response to a text. They're gone. Flip it. Lead with the point. Start with the conclusion. Say the most important thing first and then build the supporting details around it. This is called the inverted pyramid approach, and journalists, surgeons, military commanders, and high-performance executives all use it. Not because they read it in a book, because it works. When you lead with the point, you give the other person something to anchor onto. Everything else you say after that clicks into place naturally. Now let's talk about something that might be the single biggest communication killer you've never heard anyone mention. Emotional flooding. This is what happens when you're in a conversation that matters. Maybe it's a difficult discussion with someone you love. Maybe it's a high-stakes moment at work, and your emotions rise so fast that your ability to think clearly just shuts down. Your heart rate spikes, your voice gets tight, your words come out jumbled or too sharp or too quiet. And afterwards you replay the whole thing thinking, that is not what I meant to say at all. Research shows that when a person's heart rate rises above a certain threshold during conflict, the cognitive ability to communicate effectively drops dramatically. You are literally less intelligent in that moment, not because something is wrong with you, but because your nervous system has shifted into survival mode. The solution is not to feel less. The solution is to regulate before you respond. Take one slow breath before you answer anything that feels emotionally loaded. Not because you're stalling, because you're creating just enough space for your thinking brain to come back online. That single habit, practiced consistently, has changed relationships, careers, and entire trajectories for people who committed to it. Now here's something the most misunderstood communicators don't realize about being understood. Being understood is not just about what you say. It's about how safe the other person feels receiving it. Think about a time someone gave you feedback that completely shut you down. The information might have been valid, but the delivery made your walls go up instantly. You stopped listening. You went into defense mode. Now think about a time someone said something hard to you. But the way they said it made you actually hear it, made you sit with it. Maybe even made you grateful they told you. The difference was safety. When people feel safe, they listen. When people feel judged, attacked, or dismissed, they protect themselves. And you cannot be heard by someone who is protecting themselves from you. So how do you create safety? You acknowledge before you assert. You say what you see in the other person before you say what you need from them. You recognize their perspective, even if you disagree with it. You let them know that the conversation matters to you because they matter to you. This is not weakness. Research published across multiple behavioral science fields consistently shows that conversations that begin with acknowledgement are exponentially more likely to result in mutual understanding and resolution. That's not soft advice. That's strategy. Now, let's bring this together because here's where people either cross the line or stay stuck forever. Everything we've talked about, getting clear before you speak, leading with your point, managing emotional flooding, creating safety for the other person, these are not complicated ideas. But simple does not mean easy. Knowing something and actually doing it under pressure are two completely different things. And the gap between knowing and doing is where most people live their entire lives. Think about the cost of that gap. How many relationships have fractured because of one conversation that went wrong? How many promotions have gone to someone else because they presented their ideas more clearly? How many years have been spent feeling invisible, feeling unheard, feeling like no matter how hard you try, people just don't seem to get you? That cost is real, and it compounds over time in a way that most people don't fully reckon with until they look back and wonder what could have been different. But here is the truth. It is not too late. People have rewritten their entire communication identity at every stage of life. The skills you build today start paying dividends immediately, in every conversation, every relationship, every room you walk into. And if you're ready to go beyond what any single video can give you, the programs linked below in the video description exist for exactly this reason. They are built to take you from where you are right now to a level of clarity and confidence in your communication that will genuinely change how people respond to you. Most people will watch this, nod along, and go back to their lives unchanged. You don't have to be most people. The link is right there. The decision is yours right now.